You use the word Banglasphere a couple of times I mean, in fact, a lot of times. It's ubiquitous throughout the book. But I still want to make sure that I've properly understood what the term actually stands for. Would you please take this moment to, define for us in your own words what you mean by the word Banglasphere?
Banglasphere to me, I mean, it's my coinage, so I guess I must explain why or how I came up with it. I was looking for a definition of the universe of Bengalis or Bangalis. For me, Banglasphere is where Bengalis are, because Bengalis are not just in Bangladesh or Greater Bengal, which today includes West Bengal. But there are Bengalis who have always been in territorial Assam because it was earlier a part of Sylhet, which after partition went to, for administrative reasons, went to Assam. These people have always been Bengali in a Bengali area. There are Bengalis in Tripura who largely inhabit Tripura in the province in India on account of partition-led and post-partition migrations, and including 1971 led migration. So Tripura is 70% Bengali today. That's also where Bengalis live. Bengalis have, since the colonial times, spread all across the subcontinent because Bengalis, both from East and present West, were lawyers, there were doctors, there were teachers, there were professors, and as professionals in the British Indian Empire, they sort of radiated outwards from their homelands, if you will, and went elsewhere. And then Bengalis have always been great travelers outside of uh, South Asia as well. So they're all over the world. So and culture, Omar, naturally travels to where the people travel. So for me, Banglasphere includes Queens in New York, where many Bengalis live. And I won't say they're from East or West. The Bengalis, for me, they're Bengalis. Uh, they are in East London, they're in Toronto, they're in Vancouver, they're in Sydney, Melbourne, Hong Kong, Jakarta, Bali, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Karachi, even. Some of them continue to be there, all across South Asia. And for me, that's Bangladesh, because that's where people travel. That's where they take the language, that they take the culture, that's where they take their inherited histories. That's where they supplant the futures. And with each generation, if they choose to be with a person who's not Bengali, then the sort of seed, literally, Bengali-ness into future generations of half Bengali, quarter Bengali, and one-eighth Bengali progenies. So, it's like a traveling show, if you will. And for me, that is Banglasphere. I had to give it a name,
Right.
which is global, which is universal. And for me, Banglasphere was the easiest way to do it. And I'm glad it's traveled. Very happy to see that quite a few people that I've encountered are using that word. So I'm quite proud of it, actually.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very aptly said, Professor. And I didn't want to be presumptuous and assume that I understood what Banglasphere meant or whether it was something different in my mind to what you thought. But yes, it does correlate with whatever I had initially thought. And we thank you, and I thank you so much for defining it for us. Now, within that answer, Professor, you did mention something else which I would like to also touch upon. You also use the word not Bengali quite a lot in the book. It's also as ubiquitous as Banglasphere. And so my question to you would be that why did you choose to coin this new word, not Bengali, rather than using the conventional English word non-Bengali? So could you
Non-Bengali.
please tell us about that?
Well, I thought that, it is important to be absolutely transparent about who we are and all our perfidies and our pleasures and everything that we have to be proud about as well, of being Bengali and Bengaliness. And I think part of the unpleasantness of who we are as Bengalis is also to ascribe to ourselves, maybe because it was of our dominance as a culture in British times, because we were in many ways an ethnic group who were in the forefront of very many things in terms of daily life of the British Indian Empire. And the Calcutta of the British Indian Empire, Calcutta was the capital of the British Indian Empire right up until 1911. So, for much of the East India Company rule and the Crown rule from 1857 onwards. So it was as if we were at the center of the universe in a way. I think so. Some of that arrogance traveled to us. I have not encountered another culture.
Mm,
Uh, the Japanese have a word called gaijin for the foreigner. The Chinese have their own word, and cultures all across the world have their own word for a foreigner. But there's never a culture like, unlike the Bengalis, like which sort of ascribes a person who's not Bengali as literally a non-person. In Bangla, we use the word or Bengali.
mm,
It's as if the person doesn't matter.
mm,
It is as if the person is inferior, man, woman, or child. And I wanted to address that elephant in the room,
mm,
many elephants and bulls in the room, which says, "O Bengali." I mean, what the hell
mm,
are you talking about? O Bengali, not Bengali, non-person. Uh, these are the moods that are ascribed to people who are not Bengali by that one word. It's like you're not Bengali.
mm.
You
Right,
know, it is not like you're foreigner.
right,
You're not saying foreigner. You're
right,
saying you're not Bengali.
right,
So there isn't a word in Mandarin called non-Chinese. They don't use words like non-Han.
correct.
They have words that say foreigner,
Mm,
and that's sort of global in its arrogance and its, if you will. But we've actually said, if you're not Bengali, you're literally, it's as if you don't matter almost. I mean, because, that is the tonality of it. And I thought that, so non to me uh, was too close to non-Bengali to being a non-person, and it
right.
was just way too arrogant. So I, you know, uh, it's sort of took it upon myself to coin a phrase,
Mm,
not Bengali, which I thought was gentler
correct.
and probably grammatically, psychologically, and in terms of arrogance, a little more palatable
Absolutely.
to not Bengalis.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for explaining that, Professor, because as I said that, Banglasphere and not Bengali are so ubiquitous throughout the book, and so it really sticks out and
Deliberately, and this is done
deliberately.
deliberately. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. And so thank you so much for explaining that.